Good morning. It has been ages and I had set some really good intentions at the start of the year and was going to do one of these regularly, but then Celtic Connections happened and it was amazing. It was absolutely mental and really full on. I had 8 different shows, so 8 different shows with all completely different music and musicians and different band. And I also had another wee show up in Speyside. And in Scotland, Speyside is like just north of Aberdeenshire where I grew up. It's a really beautiful part of the world. And it's surrounded by mountains and sea. So you've got the coast and you've got the Cairngorm mountain range. So that was stunning. But it was a lot. And it was less than 24 hours. I did 3 shows, all different. So it was a big push to the end. I had a commission, which I talked about in my vlog video before, and the kind of writer's block and bits of that process that were quite intimidating. But I absolutely loved the show and it all came together. The musicians were amazing, and just seeing people give their heart and soul to something that you've imagined is really one of the best feelings in the whole world. And I've always been on the other side of that. So I've always been a musician who's doing that for other people. So somebody's bringing their music to me and I'm adding to it. And that's always been how I've worked. So I've never actually had it's joyful on both sides, I would say, but I've never had the joy on the other side of imagining something and then giving it to somebody else and letting their brain go to town on it, and the amazing human spirit that comes out of that kind of collaboration and that kind of cross-pollination of ideas and brains. And you know, each one of us has something individual to give, and if that individual then goes to this individual and then they create something that's immediately unique because it's those 2 brains, and then if you add a 3rd voice in that, then that has become unique again by 3 parts. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I just find that so exciting, the way that there's just this sort of endless infinity of possibility when you bring in collaborators and other musicians. It was so fulfilling. I was so honoured that they brought their A game. They were so professional and just easygoing. It was a very quick turnaround, so we had 1 day of rehearsal and then the gig. So there was really no time to breathe. It was just like, learn it and do it. And they were incredible. We had a great day as well, and I really actually enjoyed being sort of leading the rehearsal. So that was actually something. Very often I'm in somebody else's project, so I'm not actually leading the rehearsal, and to be in that position of responsibility, I really felt I kind of thrived in it actually. And inside I was, you know, all day just a bit on edge because we had a lot to get through, but a few people commented that they didn't know, which was a win. So I think I managed to keep that to myself, which I'm really proud of, because you really want everyone to feel relaxed. You want everyone to thrive in a position of fun and playfulness, and but then you also need someone sort of on the clock as well, who's making sure that you don't spend 3 hours on one thing and 15 minutes on the other. And so that was my job, to do that as the kind of band leader for that thing. So that was great. I loved it. I honestly loved it. And I think something that I actually struggle with quite a lot is feeling like I think it comes from lots of things, and you know, things in your childhood and that kind of thing, how you're brought up to be. And maybe, I don't know, I think as a woman it can be quite easy to think that your place is to be quiet. And one thing I've been sort of working on, and I've been in therapy for actually, is this whole concept of how to speak up for yourself and sort of stand forward for yourself when it matters. So I've been working on that a lot, and I feel like something's shifting in me physically and mentally, and I have a whole health journey which I will probably share at some point, but I won't bore you with it just now. How did I get onto that? I can't actually remember. It's a mistake of my brain. I think I've often had lots of ideas in situations but felt that it's not my place to speak, or I can't speak up, and I really want to. And there's a deep frustration with myself that comes of that feeling of wanting to speak but holding myself back. And when you're given that position of responsibility and leadership, you have to speak up for the sake of like your music and the band, and then it was amazing, just kind of free flowing. So it felt really big for me. It felt like maybe a bit of a turn in the road to actually, after 10 years of being a session player for the most amazing music in the world, and I'm not saying that in a negative way at all. It's been the biggest privilege of my life, and I fully intend to keep doing that. Playing on other people's music is absolutely the biggest joy of my life, and I will never stop doing that. But I've never made room for my music, and so that, or I haven't in this way. So that's been really it's been massive. It's felt massive too. And somebody actually said this to me. I can't remember who it was, but they said, in fact, it was Hannah Peel. Hannah said it. She was talking about how as a session player, you can know your voice to a certain extent, but it's only really when you set out on your own solo journey that you really learn about your musical voice. And maybe more than musical, maybe it's also your voice as a human. I thought that was so interesting, and I've never really thought about that, because of course when you're a session player, you're fitting in all the time to other people's world and you're contributing yourself. But as I said before, it's that kind of cross-pollination. And so yeah, to stand up and say, this is Alice Allen's show, or your own show, whoever's show it is, but if you're standing up there with your name on the poster and it's your music that has come out of your brain, obviously it's far more nerve-wracking than sitting at the back of someone's project. But I think that the reward that can come from that is just amazing. And I mean, I love performing, and I mean, I could talk at length on a whole other video about performance anxiety and what that means and what it's meant for me. But I have to say, in traditional music, the fact that there's not so many formalities around it and around the concert, I find it quite a stress-free environment to play in. It doesn't give me that sense of anxiety that I felt in other situations quite acutely. So the whole festival felt very positive and very nourishing for my soul, and not scary. But my own show, about half an hour before, and this is really unusual for me, in fact I'm not sure I've ever had it this strongly, half an hour before we went on stage, I felt so sick, like physically. I really felt like I could have been sick. I was presenting myself. It's quite a vulnerable feeling. So anyway, so that's been amazing. And so the festival finished up on the 4th of February. I've just been regrouping a bit and gathering some energy, and then we're going to be getting stuck back into Crow Hill and all the awesome things that are coming your way. There's a lot in the pipeline, and it's going to be so exciting. I can't wait to share it with you. I've got some wee cello things I'd like to be sharing, and I'm going to be working away on that. But that's my wee update, and I hope you're all well. The weather here's not as bad as it has been, so that's quite exciting. It's cold though. So yeah, hope you're doing great, and we'll see you again soon.